episode 17, Kane. And this is actually the episode before the season finale. Next week is the season finale, and I cannot believe, well, Batwoman started in January, so it should be the first arrow. It should have been the first show to end because Black Lightning only got 13 episodes. But anyway, so in the last episode, the last image we had of Kate was she was at Wayne Tower with Sophie, and then she ditched Sophie. She ran back to Black Mask, and Sophia was there, and they were just like, oh, we have a plan that that we're going to use to take down the Bat family. So now the Bat team Bat, they're trying to find Kate because they're just like, oh, we don't know where she is. We're doing facial recognition. We're trying to find her. Nobody knows where she is. And then Mary gets a call on her phone saying that there's like this unruly customer at the bar that's creating a scene, going around acting like she owns the place. So Ryan goes down there to take care of it because remember, Ryan's the manager of the bar. Ryan goes down to take care of it. She sees the person at the bar, and the person just happens to be Kane, who's the person creating a scene. So then she calls everybody else, and then she's just like, hey guys, remember that person that's in the bar acting like she owns the place? She's like, well, she kind of does. And then like Kate had got she had got blacked out drunk. She passed out. Everybody took her upstairs, and then they put her in the bed, and and then like Sophie was there, Mary was there, Luke was there, everybody was there, and then they were just like, oh, we finally found her, and then they're like, she needs time, and hopefully with some time, like, she'll get her memories back, and everybody's like, let's come up with some things that we can do to jog her memory. And the whole time, Ryan is the only one who was kind of being the voice of reason here because everybody was so eager to get her back. Ryan was just like, listen, are we ignoring the fact that she was brainwashed by Sophia? She was working for Black Mask, and when she was with Sophie at Wayne Tower, she kind of like dipped on her, and now she's going around like making it rain all over every lesbian bar in Gotham. So Ryan's whole thing was like, yo, she's not okay. And everybody's sitting here acting like she's okay when she's really not okay. Everybody ignored her, and then they were just like, oh, don't worry, she'll be fine, she'll be fine, she'll be fine. Now, Ryan's whole problem in the matter was there is a part of her that does feel some kind of way because she feels like if everybody's pushing so hard for Kate to regain her memories, Ryan's whole thing is the moment Kate regains her memories, I'm basically out of a job as Batwoman. Hell, she's like, I might be out of a job at the bar. She was living at the bar, living in the loft with Mary. And then she was like, well, this is Kate's apartment. So now that Kate's back, I gotta find a new place to live. And like I said, she went and talked to Luke about it. Luke didn't really make her feel better. If anything, Luke actually got all the journals that Kate had written in season 1, and he gave them to Kate so she can help jog her memory. Sophie rolled up trying to look all fine, trying to and then Ryan even said when she saw Sophie, she was like, I know what kind of memories you trying to boost, and like I said, but she was, but even Sophie did say to her, she was just like, listen, just because Kate's back doesn't mean you have to give up being Batwoman. But she was just like, no, she was like, I was always keeping the suit warm. And it's, she was like, and it is Kate. So she was like, I got to do the right thing and give it up when she comes back. But, but until that happens, Ryan's still Batwoman. So they end up finding out that like Black Mask, like Sophie said, that Black Mask, he was going around recruiting all the crows that got fired by Jacob Kane, all the dirty crows, the ex-crows that, that had a gripe or a grudge. He was recruiting them, to basically build his own army, to build a team. One of the crows that he recruited, obviously, was the guy that shot Luke, and he was there front and center. And then, because he's a crooked cop anyway, so, he doesn't really care. I mean, he did question Black Mask a little bit, but in the end, Black Mask was just like, oh, there's a system that's designed to take guys like you down. He's like, let's take back what's ours. So he was just like, all right, cool. He's like, as long as you pay and I'm on board. So he's on board with the whole thing. Ryan went to look, I guess she went to, who was it? It was Black Mask, like accountant. She went to go run up on his accountant because that guy keeps like the money trail, the paper trail of all the ex-crows that he has on the payroll. All the illegal money transactions that Black Mask has done since day one. So they needed his compute. They needed that information so they can, I guess, so they can find out what Black Mask is up to. So she goes down to the guy. She ends up stealing the guy's computer. When she gets the guy's computer, she brings it back to the Batcave. And then she's just like, hey guys, I got the computer. So how soon before we can break into it and find out what Black Mask is up to? And then when she gets there, like the Batcave is empty. And she's like, yo, where is everybody? And then she looks on the security cam footage and she sees everybody at the office talking to Kate, having a drink with Kate, laughing and yucking it up with Kane. And then now she really feels bad because she feels like the real Bat team is back together and she's the odd woman out. So she ends up going, she goes back to the loft. She starts packing up all of her stuff. She gets all of her stuff together. And then she goes back to her van and she ends up living out of her van again. And I'm just like, it wasn't that serious because even then you were working at the bar. You should have sufficient funds at this point to where you could have afforded an apartment. But she ended up going back to the van. And then while she was at the van, she was just like, well, if my time as Batwoman's coming to an end, she was like, at least I can pull off one more act of heroics. So she starts going through the computer to try to look at, all the transactions from Black Mask. Now, the funny thing about this whole thing is one of the things that Luke did for Kate to re-jog her memory, aside from giving her the journals, Luke gave her the keys to her old motorcycle. So then Kate gets on the motorcycle. She goes back to Black Mask with the journals. And then she said that aside from, her crying and bitching about how hard it is to be Batwoman, she said these journals basically gives us all the information we need to break into the Batcave. So Sophia was just like, oh, good, because you can get something for me. And then Black Mask was just like, yeah, you can get something for me too. So Kate goes back to the office. And when she's at the office, again, like she's talking to Mary and Sophie and Luke and everybody. And then because they have that information in the journals now, they now know that Ryan is Batwoman. So while Ryan was in her van looking at the computer, Black Mask found her. He got the dirty GCP cops to arrest her because she had possession of the laptop. And then he was just like, oh, that's stolen property. And then they planted snake bite drugs on her. And they're just like, oh, you're also distributing snake bite. So they snatched up Ryan and they took her to jail. After they took her to jail, Ryan used her one phone call to basically tell Luke and everybody what happened. And they were just like, oh, the Crows and the GCPD, they're going to kill Ryan the moment she steps out of the police station because Black Mask knows that she's Batwoman. So they're going to try to take her down. So then everybody looks at Kane and they're just like, oh, you have to save Ryan. You put the bat, because that's all they want. They want her to put the bat suit on. Mary was like, your old wig might be here somewhere. So she was like, oh, put the suit back on and go rescue Ryan. And then Kate was just like, all right. She's like, I'll do that for Ryan. And then, she ended up like looking at the weapons case that had all the weapons. She picked up like the tranquilizing dart gun. And then she was just like, you know what? She's like, you people are suckers, and then she shot everybody, knocked him out. But she was like, I've been working with Black Mask all along. So, it's funny. I like, it's weird because I like Kate being the villain. I like the fact that Kane is the villain. And I hope she gets like a costume, like a villainous costume, because she actually plays a good villain. And she represents the one villain that the Bat team really can't take down because they know that she's being brainwashed. So she can do whatever she wants and they're never going to arrest her. They're never going to arrest her. Nobody's going to kill her, so she can get away with whatever she wants. So I like that aspect of her being a villain. So then so she tranks everybody. She locks everybody in the elevator. And then when she locks everybody in the elevator, she starts going around the Batcave looking for certain things that she can give to Sophia and Black Mask. She stole a couple of items, and that was actually cool. They had the Mad Hatter's hat. They had the device that Bane uses, to pump the venom in his system. And then they took like a plant that Bruce had collected from Poison Ivy. And then he brings she collects all that stuff, and then she put it all in a bag, and then she was going to bring all of it down to Black Mask and bring it to Sophia. At this point, Ryan's at GCPD lockup, and her social worker, and we haven't seen the social worker I think since maybe like episode 3 or 4, and I'm gonna be honest, like I forgot all about the social worker. I forgot every single thing about the social worker. I forgot the fact that the social worker was even she was like an obsessed Batwoman fan. But she's in the interrogation room and she's cursing Ryan out, and she was like, oh, your hearing was in 1 week and you were gonna have a clean record and you've ruined your life. The Ryan's like, bitch, I didn't do it. And then she's like, of course you didn't do it. That's what they all say. That's what you said last time. And then one thing I will say about Ryan, when it comes, and I think I said this before, when it comes to the secret identity of Batwoman, Ryan does not give a rat's ass. Like, Ryan took the mask off in front of, Alice, like she took the mask off in front of Sophia and them, like, and then she flat out tells the social worker, she was just like, listen, the GCPD planted those things on me and they're going to kill me once I get out of the station. And then the social worker was like, why would they do that? And then she's like, because I'm Batwoman. And then the social worker started laughing. She was like, bitch, you ain't no Batwoman. And then she was just like, think about it. She said, when you came in here, there were 6 or 7 crows with armored guns, with like armored piercing bullets. There's an armored truck outside ready to transport me in a lockup. If all I did was just distribute some snake venom, why do you think they have a whole SWAT team, and why do you think they have all these people here for me? She was like, because I'm Batwoman. They know I'm Batwoman, and they're gonna kill me the moment I step out of here. And then she said to her, she was like, I need you to believe me. She's like, I need you to see me and understand what's going on here. I don't need the oh, like you're just a criminal, like complaining about the system. She was like, I need you to actually like understand how the world really works and understand what's about to happen to me. And then after that, then the social worker, she came around a little bit because when the GCPD cops came in, she was just like, yeah, now that you mention it, it is a little excessive to have all these people here just for you. So she told her, she was just like, listen, I want my client to stay here a little longer because we have to have a conversation. And then one of the cops tried to kill the social worker. And then Ryan, fought back. She beat up the GCP cops. More GCP came in. She beat up all the GCPD cops. And like the social worker was under the table. She was hiding under the table watching the whole thing. And while she was watching her in action, the social worker was like, shit, she actually is Batwoman. And then, after that, she helped Ryan escape. She gave her the badge. And then Ryan, she told her thank you, for believing me. And then Ryan left to go back, to go down to the Batcave. Ryan gets to the Batcave. She sees Luke and everybody all tied up. And then Kate comes out of the shadows. And then she's just like, oh, Batwoman versus Batwoman. So the two of them get into a fight. And so, and surprisingly, Ryan got her ass beat. Like Kate actually like whooped Ryan's ass, and that was very surprising to me. And then during the fight, Kate had taken out a crossbow, and she used the crossbow, to shoot, like Sophie or Luke and Mary, but she missed a couple of times. And then like Mary, Luke and Sophie, they used those same arrows because they're made out of titanium steel. They used those arrows to lift the gate up so they can escape. But by the time they got out of the gate, Ryan had already got beat up by, by Kate. And this was gangster because Kate didn't kill Ryan. Kate didn't kill, Luke and them. She beat up Ryan. She took the bat suit. She took the knapsack full of all the stuff that she stole from Bruce. She put the shit over her shoulder and she just walked out. And when she walked out, nobody tried to stop her. Like Sophie didn't try to stop her. Luke didn't try. They literally all just stood there and just let her leave. And that's when I said to myself, I was like, this is going to be interesting if Kate stays a villain because she's pretty much untouchable. As far as like the Bat team is concerned, she's untouchable. Like they're afraid to take her down. Like literally they could have stopped her from leaving the building and nobody stopped her, And then Ryan, she feels some kind of way now because she's just like, I'm supposed to be Batwoman. I'm supposed to protect the city. And then not only did I not protect the city, but the villain, like the person who's actually the villain, which is Kane, I can't even beat her because this bitch just whooped my ass and she got my batsuit. And then like Luke apologized to her. He was like, we should have believed you. And then they went down to the Bat archives room and then they were just like, what was in here? And then Luke was just like, it was things that Bruce had collected from every single, like villain that he ever took down. And they were just like, well, then Ryan was like, well, there's nothing we can do about it now because I'm not strong enough to stop her and I don't have a suit. And then Ryan got upset and she walked away. Kate then brought the items back to, Sophia and the Black Mask. And Sophia is going to use the poison ivy plant to fast grow her desert rose. Because she does have the one desert rose flower, she's going to go back to her island. She's going to plant that desert rose flower, but she's going to use the poison ivy, the little poison ivy plant. I guess she's going to use it to make like some fertilizer thing that's supposed to help fast grow the desert rose so she can get her kingdom back. But Black Mass is going to use the rest of the items, I guess, to like power up his soldiers. And more specifically, he's going to use the Bane Venom thing, like the Bane Venom. He's going to use that on Tagaroth. Tagaroth, that was the cop's name that shot Luke. He's going to use that on Tagaroth to give him like special powers and beef him up so he can become like this major supervillain too. And I'm actually looking forward to that because when I saw the coming attractions for the season finale, they showed Luke they showed Luke donning the bat suit. So if Tagaroth now is going to be beefed up and Luke is going to have the bat suit and the two of them are going to have a one-on-one confrontation, that's the only thing I care about as far as the season finale is concerned. Like I want to see that confrontation between Tagaroth and Luke. In the Alice portion of the show, Alice was crying because, Ocean was dead. Mary showed up to talk to her, which was really weird because I'm like, how did Mary find you in the in the subway system? Mary, you know, her and Mary actually had an adult, mature conversation. And then Alice was like, oh, so you just came here to gloat? And then she was just like, no, because she said you took my mom from me, but I wouldn't, what happened to you with, you know, with the person that you love dying. She said, I actually wouldn't wish that on anybody. She said, I just came here to say thank you for saving Kate. And then Alice was like, well, what was the point of me saving Kate? Because look at what I had to lose in order to get Kate back. You know, and then, you know, Mary basically, like, she left, and then Alice cremated Ocean's body. She had his ashes in an urn, and she went down to the ocean to go spread his ashes like throughout the water. And then Sophia showed up, and she was like, oh, I've come to pay my respects. And then, then Alice was just like, bitch, like, she was like, I'm gonna show you some respect. And she was like, you can't defeat me, Alice. And then she was like, oh, I'm here to offer you salvation. Because she was just like, oh, she's like, Black Mask is gonna burn the city to the ground. And she was like, I'm the only person who can offer you safe haven. Because Sophia's whole thing was, she's like, I'm basically going to rebuild my kingdom. And she told Alice, she was like, I want you to be a part of it. She's like, I want you to be a part of the rebirth of my kingdom. And then Alice was like, why should I? And then she was like, because you have nobody. She's like, you have no friends. You have no family. She was like, I'm all that you have, dearie. Because Sophia has a crush on Alice. And then, you know, Alice started crying. And she was like, you're right. I don't have anybody. And then she was like, oh, give me a hug, dear. She was like, I have you. And then when she hugged her, Alice was like, remember this knife, bitch? And then she took the knife and she stabbed Sophia with it. And Sophia hit the ground. And then I thought she died, but apparently she's not dead. But Alice told her, she was just like, bitch, I ain't working for you. She was like, no, bitch. Alice was like, no, bitch. She was like, you won't. She's like, she's like, you killed Ocean. And then she actually took the same knife that, was used to kill Ocean the first time, and she used it and she stabbed Sophia with it. And I thought Sophia had died, but apparently she just passed out. And then because she passed out, Alice was just like, oh, she was like, death is too good for you. She's like, I'm gonna torture you, bitch. So Alice has Sophia in her clutches now, and I guess she's gonna torture her, to get revenge for what happened to Ocean. So that's kind of weird because I like to see how that plays out in the season finale. So that was it. That was the episode. And I'm like, God damn, this show got really good. Really, I mean, the show was always good, but it picked up, like it definitely picked up in the second half, and there's just so much happening in the season, because like a lot of the seasons are getting shorter seasons, because of the pandemic situation, but like I said, but we're getting Batwing in the next episode, we're getting Kate versus like Ryan, because Ryan obviously has to get a new suit now, because in the final scene they showed Kate with the Batwoman costume, and she was making alterations to it. She was like, she put a slash mark, through the bat symbol. So if Kate altered the Batwoman costume, and she's gonna wear the Batwoman costume to be a villain in the season finale, one has to think Ryan's getting a new costume as well, aside from Luke getting a costume of his own. So I definitely want to see that. Like, I definitely want to see that. So this is really good. Like, I'm actually sad it's the season finale, but there's also a part of me that's like, I'm reviewing so many shows right now, like I don't mind if one gets removed for the gets taken off the table either. But thank you for tuning in, guys. So let me know what you're excited about as far as like the season finale. Like, what do you want to see happen? What do you hope happens? Does Bruce Wayne show up in the season finale? We'll see. Let's have a conversation and talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on YouTube. Even like every time you guys leave a comment, even if it's a late response, I do always respond, because like I said, I just got a lot of things going on. But when I always have that chance, when I'm editing my videos, as soon as I upload a video to YouTube, that's usually when I hit the comment section to see what people were writing, and we always respond, because like I said, we love talking about all the superhero stuff. And for all you DCCW fans, I'm trying to hold it down for all of us, and keep it going and keep the conversation going. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So until the season finale next week, I will be here. Icon signing off, and for Batwoman and Kane, I'm out this bitch.